Okay, so the first thing that I want to chat about, and that is what we saw when we developed the course, is the volume of content. I was surprised when we started printing out all the material, and I am focusing a bit on UNISA because most of our students are from UNISA, but the volume of content, if you're a distance learning student, you get a whole lot of notes, question banks, extra information. You've got textbooks, you've got the psycho handbooks, the acts that you can take with you. So there's just so much to do. And if you are studying and working, to work through all of that is, I think, it's impossible. You are going to have to compromise. And even when I studied at a residential university back when I did my CTA, I remember I had to halfway make the decision that I won't get through everything, and you have to adjust your study. So that is why our course is very valuable. And the analogy we like to use is the material that you get is like a map. So if you want to travel from Johannesburg to Kimberley, for instance, and you don't know where it is, if we give you a map book, all the information you need to get from Joburg to Kimberley is in that map book. But it's your job to sift through it and to study the route and to get there. But you will get there in the end, but it will take you longer. Whereas our course, we know the route from Joburg to Kimberley, or we know the route that you need to take in order to pass your CTA. All our lecturers are chartered accountants, and we've done this many times before. So it's like a GPS, and we want to chart your way through all of this content. But now, the other thing that I want to mention, and I'll ask Andre's experience from many years of marking CTA, developing courses, being the coordinator. What I've found and what many students don't realize is that a lot of the theory you've already done in undergrad, especially for management accounting. I can't think of many topics. There's maybe one or two at UNISA that you do for the first time in CTA. Everything else, like weighted average cost of capital or capital budgeting or standard costing, all of that you've done in second year and again in third year. So by the time you get to CTA, you've repeated a lot of the content. So theory should not be your biggest focus. A lot of students think that because it's so much work, you have to memorize all of it again, and maybe you feel like your foundation is not that great, so you first have to go through every single piece of theory before you can attempt these difficult CTA questions, and that is really something that you have to guard against. So Andre, is there anything that you want to add on that? Is that your experience with auditing as well?
Yes, no, I think that is the biggest mistake most students do. I remember my daughter when she studied CA, also through UNISA, is that I ask her, did you work through enough questions? I mean, I firmly believe that for every topic you should work through at least 3 questions yourself. That is where the learning process happens on CTA. Remember, it doesn't help just to memorize now all the solutions, because in CTA, we ask it differently. We ask it much more difficult. So the same topic that you were taught in second year and third year, when we assess it in third year, we do it, we use that Bloom's taxonomy. So it's much more the critical thinking, the synthesis. So we give much larger scenarios. We give, there you can see it, that creating, evaluating, analyzing. That is where we assess, and that is what students don't always understand. That bottom one, that remembering, that is your first year of varsity. So that's usually your first, second year is your understanding. And then third year, when you do your degree, is applying. So when you apply your knowledge. But now when we assess you, that we've assessed now, so you must remember that. So we know you know your work, you understand it, and you can apply it. We have to assess you, and I mean, I was at UNISA for 19 years in the CTA program. Can you analyze the data? Can you evaluate and create an alternative answer? So that is something different, and it's much more difficult. We don't ask the same questions. Your solutions are going to look differently. We purposefully always ask new questions, a question that you've never seen. So that is actually required from all the CTA programs, from all the universities that basically are accredited at SAICA, is that we must set new questions. So just by memorizing old solutions, It worked for undergraduate, but it's not going to work for postgraduate. So we're purposefully going to give you new questions so you've never seen the question. And we're going to ask weird things. I'm going to ask you, how do you, as an airline that sell tickets, how are you going to provide for the liability? Because a lot of times, as you know, you book your air ticket in advance. And so that's a liability. How will you basically verify that balance at the end, that liability that you have for unpaid, not for tickets that was sold, but you haven't done the service, you haven't done the flights yet. So just to give you an idea, so that is why the CTA is so difficult. It's not just a repeat of third year and the same work. Our assessing that Bloom's taxonomy that all the varsities worldwide use is on totally 3 different levels. And I always know students ask me in class, but so why is the questions this year so difficult? You guys are not fair, and do you have a grudge against us? I say, no, go look at the Bloom's taxonomy. We have to assess you on different levels. And that's what makes it so much more difficult. So just by theory, by memorizing questions, it's not going to work.